Oi, I'm a week out, roughly, before the TEDx talk, and I'm nervous. This thing is coming together, but I always get nervous when I'm writing a new speech because it's fresh. It's a half baked idea, and you don't know how well it's going to come out. And I've I just got engaged a couple weeks ago. We have some actually a whole bunch of other stuff going on in our lives, my fiance and I, and so I haven't been able to dedicate as much time as I would have liked to this speech. But so I want to show you guys what this is like, even though it's rough, it's ugly, and at least it's real. So you get a sense of what goes into these talks. And my dog is out here too. She's laying down. Not sure if you can see that, but anyway. So what I have so far is a few pages of basically a typed out structure. So you can see, I put from 0 to 1 minute the concept. And if you haven't watched my other video, the one that I did recently, watch that so you can see the concept drawn out, which is 3 motivators to great performance: pressure, purpose, and play. Which, by the way, thank you to everyone who left comments on that last video. People like Johnny White, a ton of people left comments, and they were all super helpful. My dog just let her ball roll off the patio, and now she's so sad. She's freaking out. We'll get it later, Ruby. So I'll tell you guys what I have so far, which is, after I explain the concept, I'm gonna say, today I'd like to share with you 3 stories of people who changed the world through their play. Their innovation, their creativity, their performance at work pushed mankind forward. And while it's unlikely that any of us are going to achieve what they have, we can still adopt their philosophy and their approach to work, which will help us improve the quality of our work and the quality of the time we have while we're alive. So I may or may not go a little bit into my story. I just don't know. People don't care in general all that much, I guess. So I don't know. I know it's important as a speaker to connect with the audience, to be vulnerable, to give a story that is with the through line of the talk. So, but I don't know what that story is yet. I may reference some of the stuff, or one of the stories I told and Play It Away. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. So after I tell my story, I'm going to mention that I'm going to try and speak to the inner objections that some people in the audience might be having, which is like, why should we care about play? Isn't that for kids, or taking vacations? And what is the danger of not doing this? There are billion-dollar companies that are not focused on play. They are focused on purpose, or they are focused on pressure of paying getting a good return for shareholders. Why play? So I'm going to address that. Then after that, I think I'm going to start with a story about a woman who, for 20 years, she struggled to make it. She had a kid. Her marriage fell apart. She lost everything. She was on welfare. She was deeply depressed, and wondering how she could go on. But the one thing she held on to during all those years was an idea in her head that she really preserved and nurtured. and she did the work. The thing that kept her alive and gave her hope was that what amused her. And you fast forward to today, and J.K. Rowling is one of the wealthiest women in the world. She created... Ruby, do you want to go inside? Hold on. She created the most successful book franchise of all time, the most successful... She was obviously involved with the most successful movie franchise of all time, single-handedly raised the literacy rate across the planet, did all this great stuff, and her thing, like the point I guess I'm trying to make with her story is that she had a ton of pressure on her, tons, millions of people, all eyes on her during half of the creation process, and it could have been totally overwhelming. She could have buckled and given in to their vision, the pressure of what they wanted. She could have been overwhelmed by financial offers, but she stuck with the process so well, which is so remarkable. And oh my gosh, look at this dog. She's just leaping into the... You know what? She wants her tennis ball. Yeah, I didn't even... There was another one out here. Take it. Sorry. So the first point is, like, focus on the fun. Play is the reward. She went 20 years just focusing on her idea because she loved it. This dog is driving me insane. All right, come out. Come out. And a lot of people's objection is like, look, I have to pay the bills. And the answer to that is you will literally never make enough money or be famous enough. It's been proven, basically, scientifically, that we're always going to feel insufficient. Like, money is, like getting rich and feeling joyous about that. You might feel joyful because you have more than other people don't have, and maybe the pain of bills and worrying about bills, that goes away. Eventually you'll recalibrate, though, and you won't be... You're driving me nuts, Ruby. You can't do that. If you focus on the gift itself of play, you can find happiness in the reward. So the second one is that work can be a celebration. That it doesn't have to be a prison. And the story I'm going to tell there is one about Thomas Edison. He spent how many years testing over 10,000 variations of a filament light bulb, and he described at the end of his career that he never worked a day in his life. It was all fun. And I think that viewpoint of work is a celebration. Like, life itself is enough for celebration. You can choose to be joyful. Joy is not something we try to attain. Happiness is not something we try to attain. We choose to do that. So work can be our celebration. Work can be our song, our dance, our game. And to that, a lot of people might think, well, what about the bricklayers and the janitors and the toilet cleaners? Again, you can choose your attitude. It can be joy or misery. Anything in life you can approach as this is a playground or this is a prison. So we function best when we are in this state of pleasantness. And I'm realizing that is probably going to be a stronger point, because I felt myself really agreeing with that. The problem with the J.K. Rowling one is I'm not totally sure on I know her whole story, but I haven't written out word for word, like, the point of sticking with the process that you love, sticking with it. And I don't know if she's the right example there. She met, like, I absolutely want to include a woman in this mix, because otherwise there's so many stories. It's too many stories I have about white men, basically, and there has to be somewhat of a balance. And I only have time for 3 stories, so that's the thing. And then the final one is going to be about Plato, the philosopher. And again, I haven't decided quite yet on the story I want to tell. His quote is something that I love, which is, every man and woman should play the noblest games. What then is the right way of living? Life must be lived as play. And when you think of the way that you were when you were a kid, life was play. Everything was fun. Everything could be a game. And I think our biggest problem that we face as a species, honestly, is that we are dead serious all the time. We work to escape. We work because we're just suffering through it. We're working because of the pressure. And a part of that is the system itself, but you have a choice at all times to focus on the process, to focus on the moment to moment in life and treat it as play. And it's easy to forget that. I forget it all the time, and I have to continually return to it and cultivate that. So that's the point, is you should take instructions from the inside, from yourself, in what you want to feel, rather than the outside. So to sum up, focus on the fun, celebrate your work, live life as play. And then finally, I wanted to have one section where it's like, well, how do we turn work into play? And there, I'm just going to break down, okay, here are a few ways, because this is what everybody asks, like, how do I turn my job that I hate into play? How does a company that's been focused on purpose and pressure incorporate play when maybe the work isn't all that fun? For one, social connection is the number one thing. So if you can get people in the office to disconnect from their screens and to do bonding exercises like improv, even once a month for an hour, it can have a tremendous effect. A friend of mine did that for an hour a month for 6 months, and their sales went up 21%. And it was because the team, and this was after 5 years of data, they had averaged sales goals of about 70%. And it was because the team was no longer afraid of failure. They were friends. Their morale was so much higher. So that's a huge one, is people are playing best when they feel that they're safe, that they're with their friends, and they don't have the fear of being punished just for enjoying themselves. 2, growth is what we crave. People have the most fun when they feel smart, when they feel like they're discovering something, when there's a positive feedback loop. So if you can make the work into a game somehow that's fun, without overwhelming pressure to accomplish a goal, but some sort of fun game, then you can really delight people at work. And finally, again, sometimes it's not fun. Not every moment is enjoyable. Sometimes it sucks. But again, you get to choose your attitude. You get to choose that, hey, this is a joyful process, and we can go through it together as teammates, as in treating it like a playground. Rue. Shh. So just to kind of wrap up, the goal of this talk is to, what I'm realizing after giving that talk is, hey, you need to stop, is that there needs to be more compelling data. It can't just be me telling the story of these icons, these cultural icons like Rowling, Edison, Plato. It has to be, there have to be data. This has to be backed up, because otherwise it's just anecdotal. So if you have thoughts on this, again, this was really ugly. I want to restate that. If you have thoughts on this, would love to hear them in the comments. The things that are most helpful to me are, what do you like and what do you dislike? What is clear and you agree with? And what do you disagree with? What do you think needs to go or be strengthened? What is strong? What is weak? That sort of thing. I'm not looking for one or the other. I'm looking for both. So give both. And that's it. If you've watched this entire video, amazing. Thank you so much. I love you. And I mean that sincerely. All right.